Picture this. You're at a party, surrounded by laughter and conversation, but you feel like you're watching a movie where everyone else got the script except you. Sound familiar? What if I told you that this exact feeling, this sense of being a beautiful misfit, isn't your curse, but actually your secret weapon? I'm about to blow your mind with something most people don't realize. INFJs aren't social misfits. You're social evolutionaries. You're not broken, you're just operating with upgraded software in a world still running on basic programming. And by the end of this deep dive, you'll never see your social struggles the same way again. Buckle up, because we're about to turn everything you think you know about fitting in completely upside down. 1. The alien theory, you're not from here, and that's perfect. Let's get real for a second. Ever feel like you were dropped off on the wrong planet? Like everyone else received a handbook for human interaction that somehow never made it to you? Well, here's the plot twist nobody talks about. You didn't get the handbook because you don't need it. You're operating on a completely different system. Think about it like this. Most people are like smartphones, efficient, practical, designed for quick interactions and surface-level connectivity. But you're like a vintage radio telescope, picking up signals from distant galaxies that others can't even detect. The problem isn't that you're broken, it's that you're tuned to frequencies most people don't even know exist. This alien feeling isn't random. INFJs process reality through what scientists call divergent neural pathways. Your brain literally works differently. While others see a conversation, you see a complex web of emotions, motivations, hidden meanings, and future possibilities. You're not overthinking, you're simply receiving more data than the average human brain is wired to handle. That overwhelming feeling in social situations? It's like trying to drink from a fire hose of human complexity while everyone else is sipping from a water fountain of small talk. No wonder you feel exhausted. 2. The emotional X-ray vision, seeing through people's souls. Here's something that'll freak you out. You have what I call emotional X-ray vision. While others see what people want them to see, you're looking straight through to their core. That colleague who seems confident but is actually terrified of failure? You spotted that in week 1. That friend who acts happy but carries deep sadness? You felt it before they even said hello. This isn't some mystical superpower, though it might feel like it. It's your brain's pattern recognition system working overtime. You're unconsciously analyzing micro-expressions, vocal tonalities, body language inconsistencies, and energy patterns that most people completely miss. You're like a human lie detector, except instead of just catching lies, you're catching the entire emotional truth of every person you meet. But here's where it gets wild. This ability doesn't just make you uncomfortable in fake social situations. It makes you absolutely magnetic to people who are desperate to be truly seen. Ever notice how strangers tell you their life stories within minutes? That's not coincidence. That's your emotional X-ray vision creating a safety field that screams, "This person will actually understand me." The downside? Superficial environments feel like torture because you're constantly bombarded with the gap between what people are projecting and what they're actually feeling. It's like being forced to watch a movie where the audio doesn't match the video, technically functional, but deeply disturbing to experience. 3. The social shapeshifter's dilemma. Master of disguise, slave to authenticity. Here's a mind-bender. INFJs are simultaneously the best and worst at social adaptation. You can read a room faster than anyone and adjust your energy to match what's needed. Party needs someone to lighten the mood? You become the entertainer. Meeting needs someone to ask tough questions? You transform into the strategist. Crisis requires a calm presence? You're suddenly everyone's anchor. This social shape-shifting ability should make you the ultimate social butterfly, right? Wrong. Because here's your kryptonite, you can't stand being fake even when you're incredibly good at it. Every time you adapt to fit a social situation, part of you dies a little inside. You're like a method actor who's too empathetic for their own good, getting lost in roles that serve others but starve your authentic self. This creates what I call social shapeshifter syndrome. You can fit into any social environment, but none of them feel like home. You become whatever the room needs, but in doing so, you lose track of who you actually are underneath all those adaptations. It's exhausting being everyone's perfect social mirror when what you really crave is just being yourself. The tragic irony? The very authenticity you're sacrificing to fit in is exactly what people are unconsciously craving from you. Your real self is far more magnetic than any performance you could ever put on. 4. The time traveler effect, living in past, present, and future simultaneously. Most people experience time linearly, they're present in the moment, with occasional glances backward or forward. But you're like a time traveler stuck in all dimensions at once. In every social interaction, you're simultaneously processing past patterns, present dynamics, and future implications. Someone makes a casual comment, and your brain immediately fast-forwards to see how this might affect the relationship 6 months from now. A friend acts slightly different, and you're running through historical data trying to identify the pattern. A group dynamic shifts, and you're already 3 steps ahead, seeing exactly where this is heading. This temporal multitasking is incredibly valuable. It's why people seek your advice and why you're so good at preventing disasters before they happen. But it also means you're rarely fully present in simple, lighthearted moments. While everyone else is enjoying surface-level fun, you're unconsciously doing complex calculations about relationships, motivations, and outcomes. The result? You feel disconnected from immediate pleasures and simple joys. That spontaneous group decision to grab drinks? You're already analyzing how this will impact everyone's commitments tomorrow. That funny story someone's telling? You're noticing the underlying pain they're trying to mask with humor. You're not anti-fun. You're just processing fun through multiple temporal dimensions, which makes it pretty hard to just relax and enjoy the moment. 5. The intensity meter, always set to maximum. Let's talk about something nobody warns INFJs about. Your intensity meter is permanently stuck on maximum. You don't do anything halfway. When you're interested in a conversation, you're really interested. When you care about someone, you care with the force of 1,000 suns. When you're passionate about an idea, it consumes your entire being. This intensity is like walking around with emotional superpowers in a world designed for regular humans. Your level of caring, thinking, and feeling is so far beyond the norm that it can overwhelm people who aren't ready for it. You're like someone who only knows how to whisper or shout, with no volume control in between. In social situations, this creates a constant internal struggle. Do you dial down your intensity to match the room's energy, knowing you'll feel disconnected and inauthentic? Or do you show up as your full self, risking overwhelming people who just wanted light conversation? The cruel irony is that your intensity is exactly what makes you extraordinary. It's why your friendships are life-changing experiences for people. It's why your insights cut straight to the heart of complex problems. It's why people remember conversations with you years later. But it's also why cocktail party small talk feels like trying to paint the Sistine Chapel with a toothbrush. 6. The perfectionist prison, when good enough isn't in your vocabulary. Here's something that'll hit close to home. Your perfectionism isn't really about perfection. It's about integrity. You have this internal compass that's constantly measuring whether situations, relationships, and experiences align with your deepest values. When they don't, you feel physically uncomfortable, like wearing clothes that don't fit. This integrity perfectionism shows up everywhere. You can't enjoy a party where people are gossiping because it violates your sense of authentic connection. You struggle in work environments where politics matter more than competence because it offends your fairness radar. You feel drained by friends who only contact you when they need something because it contradicts your understanding of reciprocal relationships. Other people see this as being picky or difficult. But what they don't understand is that you're not choosing to be selective. Your nervous system is literally rejecting experiences that don't meet your internal standards for authenticity and meaning. It's like having a built-in quality control system that won't let you settle for less than genuine connection. This perfectionist prison keeps you safe from toxic relationships and meaningless experiences, but it also keeps you isolated from opportunities for imperfect but potentially valuable connections. You're holding out for gold in a world full of silver, which is admirable but sometimes lonely. 7. The energy vampire magnet. Why drama finds you. Here's a phenomenon every INFJ knows but rarely talks about. You're a magnet for energy vampires, drama queens, and people with unresolved trauma. It's like you have a neon sign visible only to wounded souls that says, "Safe harbor for broken hearts." This happens because of your unique combination of empathy, non-judgment, and problem-solving abilities. Toxic people can sense that you'll listen without condemning, understand without judging, and care without conditions. To someone who's been rejected by everyone else, you feel like salvation. The problem is that these relationships are completely one-sided. You give and give and give, while they take and take and take. You become their unpaid therapist, their emotional dumping ground, their personal crisis hotline. And because you can't stand to see people suffer, you enable this dynamic even when it's destroying your own well-being. This vampire magnetism makes healthy social environments feel boring to you. You're so used to high-drama, high-intensity relationships that normal, balanced friendships can feel superficial by comparison. You've accidentally trained yourself to associate depth with dysfunction and peace with emptiness. Breaking this pattern requires learning to distinguish between people who want to grow and people who just want to stay stuck while having someone witness their suffering. It's one of the hardest lessons for INFJs to learn, but it's essential for finding actually nourishing relationships. 8. The invisible influencer, leading without trying. Here's something most INFJs don't realize about themselves. You're already a leader, just not in the way leadership is typically defined. You don't lead from the front of the room with a megaphone. You lead from the sidelines with strategic questions, timely insights, and authentic presence that gives others permission to be real. Your influence is like water. It flows around obstacles, finds the cracks in people's defenses, and gradually shapes everything it touches. You change people's minds not through argument but through understanding. You solve problems not through force but through seeing solutions others miss. You create change not through commands but through modeling what authentic living looks like. This invisible influence can make you feel powerless, especially in environments that only recognize loud, obvious forms of leadership. You watch less qualified people get promoted while your quiet contributions go unnoticed. You see your ideas implemented by others who present them more confidently. You influence major decisions through private conversations that nobody else even knows happened. But here's what you need to understand. Your leadership style is actually more powerful than traditional approaches because it changes people from the inside out. When someone follows orders, they comply. When someone is influenced by your authentic presence, they transform. Your impact lasts longer precisely because it's less obvious. 9. The depth addiction, allergic to shallow waters. Let's address the elephant in the room. You're basically allergic to shallow conversation. Small talk doesn't just bore you, it actively hurts. It's like being served a cracker when you're starving for a feast. Your brain is wired to find meaning, purpose, and connection in every interaction, so surface-level exchanges feel like a waste of precious life energy. This depth addiction makes you seem antisocial when you're actually hypersocial. You don't dislike people, you dislike meaningless interactions with people. You're not avoiding conversation, you're avoiding conversations that don't lead anywhere interesting. You're not antisocial, you're selectively social. The challenge is that most social situations are built around shallow waters. Networking events, casual parties, workplace interactions, they're all designed for surface-level connection. You walk into these environments like a deep-sea explorer forced to play in a kiddie pool. Technically you can function, but you're not really in your element. This creates a social paradox. You're incredibly good at deep conversations but terrible at the small talk that leads to them. You can discuss the meaning of life with a stranger but struggle to chat about the weather with a coworker. You're like a Ferrari trying to navigate city traffic, technically capable but not designed for stop-and-go social situations. 10. The pattern prophet, seeing tomorrow's problems today. One of your most unrecognized superpowers is pattern prediction. You see how current dynamics will play out in the future with startling accuracy. That couple who seems happy but has subtle communication patterns that spell disaster? You called their breakup months before anyone else saw it coming. That workplace decision that everyone supports but has obvious flaws? You predicted the problems before they implemented it. This prophetic pattern recognition should make you invaluable in social and professional situations. Instead, it often makes you feel crazy. You see problems that don't exist yet, predict conflicts that seem impossible, and worry about outcomes that others can't even imagine. People think you're being negative when you're actually being realistic. The social impact of this ability is profound. You often find yourself in the role of the unwanted messenger, trying to warn people about dangers they can't see yet. When your predictions come true, people don't thank you for the warning, they associate you with the problems you tried to help them avoid. This pattern prophecy also makes present moment enjoyment difficult. While others are celebrating current successes, you're already seeing the potential pitfalls ahead. While they're enjoying new relationships, you're noticing the red flags that suggest future problems. You're not trying to be a downer, your brain just can't turn off the pattern recognition system. 11. The authentic rebel, revolution through realness. Here's something powerful about INFJs that often gets overlooked: you're natural rebels, but your rebellion is through authenticity rather than aggression. In a world full of people performing their lives on social media, you dare to be genuinely yourself. In environments where everyone's trying to impress each other, you focus on real connection. In situations where everyone's following unspoken social rules, you question whether those rules actually serve anyone. This authentic rebellion makes you incredibly attractive to people who are tired of superficiality, but it also makes you threatening to people who are invested in maintaining surface-level social systems. Your mere presence challenges others to be more real, and not everyone appreciates that challenge. You rebel by asking questions others are afraid to ask. You rebel by naming elephants in rooms where everyone's pretending they don't exist. You rebel by prioritizing substance over style, depth over breadth, quality over quantity. Your rebellion is quiet but powerful. It's the revolution of choosing meaning over fitting in. This rebellious authenticity often makes you feel like an outsider, but it's actually what makes you a catalyst for positive change in every environment you enter. You give others permission to drop their masks, speak their truth, and prioritize what actually matters to them. 12. The emotion translator, speaking feelings fluently. You have a rare gift that most people lack. You're fluent in the language of emotions. Not just your own emotions, but the complex emotional landscape of everyone around you. You can sense what people are feeling even when they can't, articulate emotions they don't have words for, and help them understand their own internal experience. This emotional fluency makes you incredibly valuable in relationships, but it also makes simple social interactions exhausting. While others are exchanging pleasantries, you're unconsciously translating the emotional subtext of every interaction. Someone says they're fine, but you hear the sadness underneath. Someone acts confident, but you detect the anxiety they're trying to hide. This constant emotional translation happens automatically, you can't turn it off. It's like being a simultaneous interpreter in a foreign country, except the foreign language is feelings and you never get a break from translating. Every social situation becomes work because you're processing multiple layers of emotional information simultaneously. The gift in this burden is that you help people understand themselves in ways they never could alone. Your emotional translation skills help resolve conflicts, deepen relationships, and create understanding where there was confusion. You're like a bridge between people's internal experience and their ability to communicate it. 13. The social strategist, chess master of human dynamics. While others are playing checkers in social situations, you're playing 4D chess. You see not just what's happening in the moment, but how each person's actions will affect the group dynamic, how current conversations will influence future relationships, and how seemingly small decisions will create larger consequences down the line. This strategic social awareness makes you incredibly valuable in group settings, but it also makes simple interactions feel complicated. You can't just enjoy a casual conversation because you're simultaneously analyzing how it fits into the larger relationship ecosystem. You can't just participate in group decisions because you're seeing all the unintended consequences others are missing. Your social strategy often involves protecting others from social dangers they don't even know exist. You might redirect conversations away from topics that would hurt someone, deflect attention from people who are feeling overwhelmed, or create space for quieter voices to be heard. You're constantly managing group dynamics in subtle ways that nobody notices but everyone benefits from. The downside is that this strategic thinking never stops. You can't just be a participant in social situations, you're always partially the director, managing variables and outcomes that others aren't even aware of. It's exhausting being responsible for social dynamics that nobody asked you to manage but everybody needs you to maintain. 14. The transformation catalyst, changing lives without trying. Here's something remarkable about INFJs that often goes unrecognized. Your presence alone transforms people. Not through what you do or say, but through the quality of attention you bring to relationships. When someone feels truly seen and understood by you, it changes their relationship with themselves permanently. You probably have no idea how many lives you've changed simply by being authentically yourself in relationships. That friend who gained confidence after your conversations? That colleague who started pursuing their dreams after your encouragement? That family member who learned to express their emotions after watching you model emotional honesty? You likely don't even remember these interactions because for you, they were just normal human connection. This transformational impact happens because you see people's potential even when they can't see it themselves. Your belief in others' capacity for growth, your patience with their struggles, and your refusal to judge their journey creates space for them to become their best selves. You're like a human greenhouse. People grow in your presence. The challenge is that being a transformation catalyst can be overwhelming. People become dependent on your insight, your support, and your ability to see them clearly. You end up feeling responsible for others' growth and guilty when you need to focus on your own development. Your gift becomes a burden when you forget that transformation is ultimately each person's own responsibility. 15. The visionary's burden, seeing what could be. Your final superpower is also your greatest challenge. You see not just what is, but what could be. In every relationship, you see the potential for deeper connection. In every situation, you envision how things could be improved. In every person, you recognize abilities they haven't developed yet. This visionary capacity is incredibly inspiring but also incredibly isolating. You're constantly comparing reality to possibility, and reality rarely measures up. That friend who could be amazing if they just worked through their issues? That workplace that could be transformative if they just changed their culture? That community that could be supportive if people just learned to communicate better? You see all these possibilities, but you can't make them happen for other people. This visionary burden makes present moment acceptance difficult. While others are enjoying things as they are, you're mentally redesigning them to be what they could become. While they're satisfied with good enough, you're holding out for what's truly possible. It's a beautiful way to see the world, but it can make you feel chronically disappointed with how things actually are. The key is learning to appreciate the vision while accepting the reality. Your ability to see potential is what makes you a catalyst for positive change, but your peace depends on letting go of attachment to outcomes you can't control. Conclusion. The INFJ revolution, changing the world by being yourself. Here's what I need you to understand. Everything that makes you feel out of place in typical social situations is exactly what the world desperately needs more of. Your depth in a shallow culture. Your authenticity in a world of performance. Your empathy in an age of isolation. Your vision of what's possible in a time of cynicism. You're not struggling socially because you're broken. You're struggling because you're ahead of your time. You're operating with advanced emotional and social intelligence in a world that's still figuring out basic human connection. You're like someone trying to have a philosophical discussion in a room full of people who only speak in text messages. But here's the revolutionary part. You don't need to change to fit the world. The world needs to evolve to include people like you. Every time you choose authenticity over performance, depth over surface, quality over quantity, you're not just living your values, you're modeling a better way of being human for everyone around you. Your feeling of being out of place isn't a personal failing. It's a cultural symptom. We live in a society that prioritizes networking over connecting, image over substance, productivity over presence. Of course you feel out of place. You're refusing to participate in systems that don't serve human flourishing. The solution isn't learning to fit in better. It's learning to trust that your way of being in the world is not just valid but valuable. It's recognizing that your social selectivity protects your energy for relationships that actually matter. It's understanding that your depth creates space for others to be more real. It's accepting that your authenticity gives others permission to drop their masks too. You're not out of place everywhere. You're just in the wrong rooms. There are people out there who've been waiting their whole lives for someone exactly like you, someone who sees beneath the surface, who values substance over style, who creates safe space for real conversation, who believes in the possibility of genuine human connection. Your job isn't to become more like everyone else. Your job is to become more like yourself, so the right people can find you. The world doesn't need another person who fits in perfectly. The world needs you with all your intensity, your depth, your authenticity, your vision, and yes, even your social selectivity. Every time you feel out of place, remember this: you're not the problem. You're the solution. In a world that's forgotten how to connect authentically, you're keeping the flame alive. In a culture that's settled for superficial relationships, you're holding space for something deeper. In a society that's accepted loneliness as normal, you're modeling what true intimacy looks like. That feeling of being different? It's not a burden to carry, it's a banner to fly proudly. You're not just different, you're necessary. The world is ready for people who refuse to settle for less than real connection, who won't participate in social systems that diminish human dignity, and who dare to believe that meaningful relationships are not just possible but essential. So the next time you walk into a room and feel like you don't belong, remember this: you don't belong in that room because you belong in a better one. And your refusal to settle for less than authentic connection isn't holding you back. It's leading you home. Your greatest advantage isn't that you can fit anywhere. It's that you know what real belonging feels like, and you won't accept anything less. In a world full of people settling for connection, you're holding out for communion. And that's exactly the kind of revolution the world needs right now. The revolution isn't coming. It's already here. And it looks exactly like an INFJ choosing to be authentically themselves in a world that's forgotten what authenticity even means. Welcome to your revolution. The world is ready for you.